record if you don't mind.
You have a lot of input.
Did you open these?
No, I didn't.
Okay, so this is a copy of last year's list
Okay.
of the ICIP.
Cool. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Welcome to the City of Anthony's ICIP public hearing. This is for the 2027 to 2031 ICIP, which is due this July for municipalities and counties. What the ICIP is it's a 5-year plan looking at capital improvement needs for the community. So this plan will start July 1st of 2026, so it'll start next summer. And what we've passed out is the project summary from the city's plan that was adopted last year at this time. And so this is a list, a prioritized list of projects for the city. And the reason that we're having this public hearing tonight is to get the public's input for this year's ICIP. Following this public hearing, the Board of Trustees is having a work session, and there will be a process of adopting the ICIP before the deadline. So this is a good opportunity to give any input you might have of what you think should be prioritized or things you'd like to see in the community, and we will relay that information to the Board of Trustees to take into consideration. And I'm Tiffany Wolfie. I work for the South Central Council of Governments, and I help small communities and water associations with their ICIPs.
And my name is Gloria Ramirez, and I'm the City of Anthony's project coordinator. And I thank you, Ms. Marty. We don't have anyone else, so we welcome your comments and suggestions that you may have.
Do I start now?
Go ahead.
Okay, so I'm here as a resident, but I also am the commissioner for the PNC now. But like again, I am here as a resident, and some of the residents were telling me that their number one thing is the streets. And then second is the lighting, the poor lighting on 4th Street and Landers, all along the walking trail too, where the intersections are, each street. Like I'm thinking it's Acosta, Landers, and then Duffer. And yeah, that's, I mean, me as a resident, I've almost run over people in the dark, and it's scary. Let me see what else. They just want to a lot of people want to have those lagos finished. They keep asking about those lagos being
So it would be like infrastructure.
completed, yes, infrastructure. But yeah, so I do see right here, it's actually walking paths and bike lanes, so that was number 2 for me, for the residents. And then neighborhood services equipment, neighborhood improvements. I think basically that's the 3 things that I've heard the most from the residents, those 3 things.
So you would say like bump up number 5 on the top 3?
The walking paths and bike lanes, yes. Let's bring it up. Because
Number 5 is the Anthony Economic Development Infrastructure.
5, let me see, sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, okay, yes. So those would be the top 3, the 5, and I guess the number 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Is there anything that you see there that you might want to, you might think it's not beneficial that we should have it listed?
I mean, they're all beneficial, The transfer station, I believe it is important, but, again, not where they were proposing it originally to be on, what's the street,
Near post office on Sunday, or?
no, it was gonna be off of, Stern. So that was another thing, the public, the residents didn't want it on Stern, they're hoping to put it on the other side of I-10.
Hello, welcome.
Hi there.
Are you here for the ICIP hearing?
Yes, I wanted to hear about the infrastructure.
Okay, good. Good, good. So right now, we're just getting comments. Sorry, before you leave. Go ahead and explain right away.
You want to sign it?
Sure.
Okay, what she said. Anything else, Ms.
I
Martin?
just passed out, it's a list of the project priorities from last year,
Uh-huh.
and the city will be updating that
I would
this
say
year.
also the health and
So those are
wellness,
things to
that's
look at,
important,
things different
as soon as we can get that,
There's things
that
that
building
should
that
be
we
added,
have there
everything's
on Los Lagos, we can get it,
Thank you.
up and open. And then I believe we're gonna check to see if there's like gonna be any money available to add on to it, to make, maybe rent it out, have it, basketball courts and stuff like that, make it bigger, the community center.
Okay, the.
Yeah, I don't know, I thought I had heard that they were gonna see whether we would have some grants available or something like that.
Yeah, we had applied for the capital outlay for this January that passed, but we didn't receive anything for it. Hopefully, we either apply for other grants for it, or we make a great, stronger application for next year. For the
So-
legislative session.
So there's not gonna be anything that's already closed for that, starts that?
For the legislative session, yes,
Okay.
unfortunately. Right now, the other routes we can go and try to get some money. Is there anything else besides what we have listed that you might wanna see?
I guess making sure that the baseball park is finished. I know that some of the residents want more things added over here to the soccer field, the one that's right here next to the municipality.
Okay.
That's what it is.
So far?
It's simply what I can think of, that I've heard amongst the residents.
Ms. Science, do you have any input on, that you might wanna see? We have a list, they give you a list of the ICIP. The ICIP is a improvement capital, what's it called? The-
Infrastructure
That
capital
one.
improvement plan.
And, we're here to get your input, your ideas. We have the list in front of you. That's currently what we have listed as like, our priorities as a city. So this hearing is to hear, from the public, what are your ideas? Should we switch things around? Is there anything that you don't see there that you might want us to add?
I'm curious as far as to how we do the improvements on streets when on your actual project or sites, do you put down the streets, or would you like me to mention specifics, like, could you look at this street, or could you, is that better?
You can, that can also be beneficial for the board. That way they know specifically, what streets the public is, wanting to focus, the improvements on. So, we can add, like, if you see, we do have the street improvement as number 1.
Yes.
But, on the description, I don't know if we have specific streets.
Yeah, so the streets listed right now are streets including O'Hara, Acosta Church, Levasse, Pondwood Lane, First, Second, Miller, Kalar, Grant, Madison, Van Buren, St. Anthony, Dos Lagos, Monroe, Lee, Adams, Lynn and Morales.
Oh,
Yeah,
well,
there's
that
others.
covers most of, would you all consider, Lincoln Street?
We can, put it down, and then after this meeting, we do have a work session with the board. And we're gonna give them, all the ideas and suggestions that we do receive from this meeting. And that way they can, incorporate it the way that, can go into the list and the description.
Yes, no, but this, I did get the streets you have listed on there are streets that I had in mind, so I think that is a wonderful list and I appreciate that. I know you guys have on here as well, the parks, and I know there's a lot of development or thoughts of development at the different meetings that I've been at and heard of via Zoom, of the Dos Lagos area. So that still is, priority number 2, is that correct?
That falls under that category, and also number 5, which is the, ethnic economic development infrastructure.
Okay. And within the economic development infrastructure, it also includes that, and that's of course for development and hopefully having more, attracting more businesses in that area as well? Okay.
Yes, that is correct, and also, it also falls under the Anthony Health and Wellness. Like Ms. Marty Gutierrez mentioned, we do have another building there that we have built that, it's part of a bigger facility, a bigger vision that we do have, where, we have a second phase, already, designed, which will include a basketball court. So that also falls under like the health and wellness for the community. So that Dos Lagos area is a huge project that can be, funded with many of these categories.
Okay. And the water, I see water, I see flood development, what I found something about water. Did I miss that? I'm sorry, this turning 50 really was something for me with my eyesight, I apologize.
No, you're fine. Would you like me to read the categories from 1 to number 12?
Sure.
Number 13? Okay, so the first category is Anthony Streets Improvement and Sidewalks. Number 2 is Anthony Community Parks and Recreation. Number 3 is Anthony Health and Wellness. Number 4, Anthony Flood Control Improvement, so maybe that's what you thought about water. And then number 5, Anthony Economic Development Infrastructure. Number 6, Anthony Transfer Station. Number 7, Anthony Public Safety Equipment. Number 8, Anthony Public Safety Building. Number 9, Anthony Public Works Vehicles and Equipment. Number 10, Anthony Walking Paths and Bike Lanes. Number 11, Anthony Neighborhood Services Equipment. Number 12, Anthony Library Improvements. And the last one is Anthony Land Acquisition.
And in your Anthony Health and Wellness, I know you mentioned some of the recreation to better people's health, that's part of it. And would housing facilities, this category housing related cap infrastructure? Is the housing like maybe thoughts of developing a housing project there for lower income, or is that just merely saying also including the houses that are already on that side of Anthony?
You know, Ms. Science, that is part of the vision. We're still very iffy on what the board's vision is at the moment on the housing. There was talks about having like a low to moderate income, and then there was talks of having no low and moderate income. So it's a subject that we might have to revisit with the board once again and see what their vision is at the moment. But I believe that for housing and like a housing area development, we wouldn't have it listed here, right? Cause it would probably be something more of us going to maybe the realtor and working a development project.
Yeah, and we can actually check those categories, cause I feel like those may not have been the categories that.
But we can,
affected
yeah,
too.
we can sure write down that you would wanna see some housing.
Yeah, I just thought about it, I mean, I think, my vision, because I grew up here, because I have roots here, my family has been in the Mesilla Valley for over 100 years. So even though I don't live here full-time, I consider myself a part-time resident. Whenever I'm here, I come in, whenever I can, I listen on the Zoom. I try to, and I hope that, that one day we will progress and be, make improvements, make it a little better. So whatever I can do or say, pardon me for all my questions, I'm just sincerely trying to be positive and trying to just be forward thinking for the future. And by the way, it already for me is, wonderful what everybody has done, because I remember, growing up here and all we had was the volunteer fire department, which my brother and I call him my uncle, Ben Sines was the fire chief, and before that, Mr. Rose, and it was like one fire engine from La Union all the way to like Mesquite. So I feel like, the fact that the city has grown, now there's there's a fire, like a real fire station. I believe the city's done a wonderful job. I just wanna, comment and have other questions. And in relation to buying your vehicles and equipment for the public works, is there an acquisition method or that is standardized by the state, or do you openly bid? Are you able to use any of the federal government entities like GSA to buy vehicles cheaper and kind of help out the city, or does that, because I see it's not a whole lot. It's only, what is it?
500,000, 900,000.
Yeah.
For that, Ms. Sines, that's more like a procurement question, which I don't know much about it, but what I do know that I can respond to that is, basically we get the 3 quotes, we come to the board and, basically they approve whichever one they feel it would fit the department the most.
I was just curious, because I know there's sometimes when people pull their money together and go to a big entity to buy, public work vehicles and equipment, it's cheaper if you buy from like in a group fashion. So I was just hoping that maybe something like the GSA schedule from the federal government was available, or if the state had a similar type program that you guys could.
They actually do. They have if there's a state vendor that is what is it called? We're sole, that it's like the sole provider for that type of vehicle that we're looking for. Let's say it's a specific vehicle that the Public Works Department is looking for, and that's the only vendor that has it. There's a process of having to, I think they have to advertise for a certain amount of days, and if there's any other vendor that does pop up and say, hey, we do have that vehicle available, then we do like who gives us a better price. There's also the state price agreements where they have it's a couple of vendors that are the only ones that sell that vehicle or item.
That's really good. And as far as the library improvements, what was the project here? What did it entail?
Let's see.
Was expanding the library, or just like small upgrades within the existing building?
It does say like to plan, design, construct, and equip library improvements, including expansion. So it could probably, if we were to get money for the library, it would probably be to expand it.
And I take it the board also reaches out to, our representatives that go up to Santa Fe.
Yes, of
every
course.
year, Mr. Reed.
That happens every January.
Yeah. I didn't know until recently that they met for such a short session, you know, I'm used to, but I was glad to see Mr. Ring Gallegos here last time too, so that was a good thing. The walking path and the bike lanes, are those also for the Dos Lagos area only, or do you have a walking path and bike lanes maybe for this, what I call the older side of Anthony, like where I grew up, you know, Livesey, Lincoln, where the park, I know you guys are doing a great job with the park. I don't wanna sound like a fashion blogger, so please not just asking, so is there any like walking paths, or, I know you guys want to eventually do the sidewalks on the streets and stuff, I think that would help too, but, just wondering if paths are also planned for that side.
So it does say that, it doesn't say a specific area, so it's the whole city, wherever we can add any walking paths or bike lanes. I know for that, there is a thing called, like a trail, kind of like design that we would have to go through, either a study or like an engineer, study that they do a report where we can actually take the trails and walking paths and bike lanes throughout the city. And I believe we don't have that yet. That's maybe something we can explore into of having, where we can have all of that.
Okay. And for flood control improvements, I know it was a long time ago, was it maybe 20 years ago when they had like a mini flood or whatever, but what type of flood control projects did they have in mind? Was it more for towards this side where the river is at, the river levee, or for that like dam little area that's over by the highway?
So for that, it does fall that like the Arroyo project. That's part of it, but basically, even having the standard drainage improvements in the whole city, because not everything is connected. That's why there's sometimes little floods here and there, because the drainage is not like, not everything has sidewalks around here. So when we do have the sidewalks, we do the curb and gutter. That way it's all connected to the drainage.
Okay.
So when we do have a project like that with the CDBG, we can apply for a certain street that we can fix the sidewalk and add the curb and gutter. That way, we connect that project, that street improvement, as a, what is it called? A flood control, project, because we're actually connecting into the sewer and making the improvement that way.
Yeah, cause I know, Livesey, there's like that, right after you get off the highway, there's that little dip, and I know that the water accumulates there, so, you know, that would probably, I know you have Livesey already on your street to fix, so. But yeah, I mean, those are the things that I notice when I come, and I come often, so. What land acquisitions did the city want to obtain?
That one is the last one.
I had that question too, what does that entail? I didn't see it, so right now.
Most likely like the, what is it called? When we get more land,
Is that the annexation?
yes.
Okay, so that's important too.
Yeah, most likely is getting money to
Yeah.
do the study to annex more land.
Yes.
And this is the one that was discussed at one of many meetings, city meetings, is it for the land over on the other side of I-10, close to where the fireworks is at, that area, she's shaking her head, okay.
And the language is pretty broad. It's to acquire, the scope of work is to acquire land for public purposes and economic development projects to improve the health, social, and economic environment of the community. Land identification is ongoing. Upon the completion of land identification, the city of Anthony will secure funding and follow state procurement to acquire the land. In each phase, land will be acquired. And so it's kind of also like a general project in case there are opportunities for land that the city does want to acquire. And something we should also say is this, in addition to being a 5-year plan, is also a tool for seeking funding. So it is really important for potential projects that the city is looking at to be on there, in case funding opens up. Since the city does have land acquisition on its radar.
I would like to see that moved up. And that would fall under where we would bring more businesses in, right? We would be able to.
We can, well, this one has itself, one category, so it's land acquisition. It can either, land on that one, or if you were suggesting to combine it with the infrastructure, I believe we can, huh, Tiffany? Or does land acquisition should be one specific?
Yeah, no, I think it's possible to do both. I think that having the general land acquisition could be for economic development or for some other public purpose. I don't know what it would
Economic land
be.
development.
Yeah, in the economic development infrastructure project, it does include, to acquire land, in the legislative language, so that would also be possible, but it's kind of for both.
Do you have a number maybe in mind that you might wanna see it bumped up to?
So we had done, we're up to 5, right?
Yes, you have streets, number 1, 2, lighting, number 3, Dos Lagos, number 4, the baseball park to be finished, number 5, the soccer field, number 6, land acquisition.
Yeah, number 6.
Okay.
Could the flood control be moved up to number 7? I say that because for people who live in, even if those little dips and stuff, their insurance on their house goes up if they could potentially be, have water damage. And water damage isn't always covered by your home insurance.
Yeah.
You have to have flood insurance. And I don't think a lot of the residents of Anthony even have both. I think they may think, because I know me for one, I always thought, like fires, right? Fire, it would be automatically covered under homeowner's insurance. But if there's water where like the mud comes down from whatever and it goes inside your house and it was the mud coming down, then the home insurance says, no, that's considered flood. So could we move up the flood to hopefully help also too with the drainages and the fact that you guys moved up the streets to number 1? Hopefully maybe it'll help you all to coalesce those two and maybe get hopefully some funding.
Hello. Yeah, I have it here that you're suggesting to move it up to number 7 after, Ms. Martinez.
Now, would that be considered part of the ponding? Because I know you
Yes.
presented the ponding areas where you're gonna have them.
That's also flood control.
Okay.
And you know what, I wasn't quick enough to write down all the numbers. Can you tell me which one was number 1? Was it the street improvements and sidewalks? Because that includes the lighting?
Yeah, so Ms. Marty is suggesting to have streets as number 1.
Okay.
Number 2, to have the lighting.
Oh, lighting isn't on here, so we'd make that a number 2? Or did
I think lighting is part of, let's see.
Yeah, I think we could kind of incorporate lighting
Number 1, lighting into the sidewalk
Street
and street
into
improvement.
streets and into the walking path.
Oh, yes,
It
that's,
seems like,
Mhm.
that seems like they go together, and we could
yeah.
maybe coalesce and then, group that, okay. So number 1 was, the one that was originally there, and then number 2 we said was,
Walking trail with the lighting?
Yeah, lighting, she did mention that wherever we put the lighting to have, fourth, landers, and then walking trail.
and that's under the Anthony walking paths and bike lanes,
Yes, ma'am.
so that'll be number 2. And then, what was 3, I'm sorry?
Those Lagos infrastructure.
But it's not on here, right?
No, those are just her suggestions. So
Oh.
those are the suggestions we're gonna take to the board.
Oh,
In a
okay.
couple of minutes, and then they will make the
Gotcha, okay, I was just,
approvals.
oh, okay. In my head too, I'm just trying to, sorry, because I came in late, I apologize.
You're okay.
To everybody, and Mrs. Gutierrez, sorry. I'm Paula, nice to meet you. I apologize, okay.
And then what was number 4?
The baseball park to be finished. Number 5, the soccer field here at the municipal building. I would even suggest both of them because we do have that soccer field at those levels that already has really good lighting. We just need more money to bring it up.
Also, just make it plural, like soccer fields.
Soccer fields.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that would be really good.
And then number 6, the land acquisition. 7, your suggestion of the flood control. And I do have your suggestion of housing and, to keep the roads.
Oh, yeah. Parks and Recreation has included.
The ball fields? Okay, good.
We could actually add into, well, this kind of is like has a lot of stuff that's also intergenerational, but it has.
So is this one the one that has more characters that we can add? Or this one?
This will be your legislative one. This would be like if you wanted to have your class.
Okay,
If you wanted to make sure it's.
I think more targeted for the legislative session.
Yeah, if
Okay.
you wanted to, but this one also includes the multi-generational facilities, so. I don't know how targeted you want it to be.
Yeah, sometimes we like the broad in case
Yeah,
we don't know how much money they give us.
yeah, for sure.
But as long as we have it in the scope, I mean.
Mm-hmm.
And what type of equipment does our Anthony Neighborhood Services need at this moment?
That one, neighborhood services. That one does say to purchase, install equipment including like animal control vehicles. And it does have a scope of work of, yeah, it's very broad. To purchase and install equipment including animal control vehicles for the neighborhood services. Back when they had made this category, I remember they were looking into having, vehicles where they have the animals, in like a controlled cage. Right now, they have them like in just a cage outside of the truck. So,
I've seen that.
sometimes the drive from here to, Las Cruces to have them in the shelter, it's quite, like maybe about 20 to 30 minutes. That way the animal is not in extreme
So we're trying to be more humane,
Yeah.
and pet friendly since we all love our little pets.
And I also believe they have mentioned, like fixing up the cages that we do have in the very back where they keep the animals, until the animal control officer takes them to the shelter.
Well, that is definitely one that I've had interactions with, and I do remember that poor animal control gentleman having to load it in a cage in the back of his pickup, so that is, you know, that is a lot. It also opens up the city liability for hurt backs, hurt everything versus, you know, and of course the humane part for the animals. I mean, we all have a heart, so nobody wants to, you know, do something terrible to an innocent little thing. Okay, I know the chief does a really good job at getting grants for her public safety, taskings of police. Are the two public safety equipment and public safety buildings also for, like law enforcement driven?
Yeah, the public safety building, it's actually a building that is, at the moment, it's being designed.
Oh.
And, it's gonna be up in those levels. And, we just wanna have continued, funding for it, that way, after the design, it can be, good to go for construction.
Oh, well, that was one I didn't know about, so thank you, and I'm glad I came.
We're glad to have you.
I know, ready to pop in, and sometimes I'm calling Carla, I can't get on, I can't hear anything. I know, it's like, okay, seems pretty good, okay.
Ms. Marty, you don't have anything else?
I think everything else that's on here is okay, it's just, but mainly that's what like you said, that's what I've heard the residents talk about. Maybe, but then again, this would fall under the chief, more police units out and about, I mean, if they need more vehicles. But like she said, the chief has monies set aside for that stuff, but that's important too.
Yeah, gotcha.
Yeah, their equipment, their radio equipment and all that they need.
Would you wanna see that as number 7, or just keep it as long as it's there listed?
Let's do number 7.
Oh, I mean, sorry, number 7, she wanted,
8.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's 8.
So just as long as the police department has safety and they have what they need.
Yeah, she is very good at writing and soliciting with grants, and that's how she's gotten a lot of the money to do a lot of the work. She should be commended for that, because she does a lot on her own, so that she doesn't have to, you know, go through this process. It frees up the money for other types of projects. She's a good chief. The transfer station, is it only open on certain days, or, what would that, project be?
So that one is actually a project that we don't really have it started yet. There was a schematic, very preliminary idea of it, and that was to actually have the transfer station, which is a building, an enclosed building where the dump trucks go and dump the trash, basically. We did have the preliminary idea was to have it, like Ms. Gutierrez mentioned, off on Stern. But our new board's vision is to have it moved to the other side of the highway. So in order for us to do all of that, we would have to do a report with the engineer, our new engineer firm, and we would have to request some money or look for some money to do all of that.
Oh, that's true, you got the new engineering firm at the beginning of the year, I remember. And so then it would be, the transfer station would be where the old dump used to be back in the day, on the other side, behind the, like, going
No,
towards
that's
Chevrolet
actually
Hill. O'Hara, no?
No, it has a different name. That's actually a transportation that we would own. I think that's a, has a different name, sorry, I can't think of,
No,
of
no,
it
it's fine, it's
off the
fine.
top of my
I'm putting
head,
you on the
but,
spot. No, no.
it would be a little bit different, yeah. That one, they just go and dump the trash. This one is at an actual facility that will actually generate, money to the city.
Oh, so we wouldn't have to be paying any more El Paso disposal fees, we would
Mhm.
maybe have it done as part of the tax base of our property taxes, where you guys would include billing and get money from there, or would it be individual billing?
Yeah, something like that. Our procurement had been working on doing an RFP for, a trash company.
Mhm.
I don't know how far she's gone through that, but, it's all part of the process of
Or whether we would own it and staff it
Yeah.
with city employees or
the
contract
transfer
it out.
station, yes.
So do an analysis on both types of venues, which
Mhm.
would be most beneficial. Okay, interesting. Okay, thank you. I'm learning.
Yeah, of course.
I think that's, and then the rest, they fall under the way they are.
Yeah.
We still keep, what we didn't cover, what we didn't move up,
Mhm.
just fall in the same category with the same
Okay.
steps.
Is there anything else for me, Ms. Sands? So we can wrap it up, at 6. We do have that workshop with our board, and you're welcome to stay. So,
Yes, no, that's it. Thank you for entertaining my questions. Thank you so
Anytime.
much. Both of you, thank you.
thank you. You want to start?
And thank you, Ms. Gutierrez, for your time and also helping me out.
Yeah, that's fine, we can just grab the chair.